this table. He would just say, I could just put some wood, just put the wood in there, then blah blah blah. But filmmakers feel the desire. I don't know whether it's like an ego thing to be like, I spent years developing this idea, it came to me in my dream. And like, but no, you put wood together, that's all that happened. And you don't really know why.
The carpenter is in theory making a table that's been sort of made before and is based on all that. I think or at least often you'd assume the filmmakers who are sort of getting into all that, you'd hope that it's because they've done something original, or at least something they see as original, right? And they see that as a reason that it's not just the same table you've seen before. There's this like, how did you come up with this crazy table?
I think,
it came to me in a dream.
It's true, ideas are different than...
And like you could definitely say that for like, if you started asking someone who works in film as like as a craftsman.
Why
like did you say? It's like, of course, because I was told to do the thing and I knew exactly what I needed to do.
Sure.
Whereas, I don't know. I'm not saying it's just.
But I think you would, if you asked, like, I think the people that are more successful in film or like storytelling, like Stephen King, if you asked him, how did you? He's very much a craftsman though, and I think it comes down to just the craftsman mentality, really, at the end of the day. If you're making like something that's solid and good.
But that's, I don't think...
And taste, I suppose, taste.
Yeah.
And then taste is just like something you've developed over years.
Totally, but if you're doing something, if you're trying to make a thing that talks about something specific, like that's... I don't think that's a kind of crazy thing to have got an idea from.
I did have this super strong conviction, I guess idea the other day. Maybe not idea, more like a comment on ideas. And that's when I messaged you as well, Finn. I was like, the idea itself doesn't really matter, because it's kind of like weather. It just kind of happens. But the execution of the idea is what actually has any sort of practical or what matters. And I use the word matters because it actually manifests in the real world. And so it actually it becomes matter to a degree.
But do you not think...
That's a valid point.
So is that, by going like that, you'd say that say in a film, having a script, the idea of like a film's going to be bad if it has a bad script. But that script isn't the idea. The script is a thing that's been created from, and it's the execution.
That is it, yeah.
But how far back does that get?
What do you
mean?
Then
you go a step.
Thinking.
Exactly, like the thought, the process of, okay, so you don't just sit down and write a script, you've got all this stuff you do beforehand. Is that the idea? Is that the execution of the idea?
But
is the thing before that, the thought of doing these things?
Well, that's exactly why you can't ever answer that question.
Well, but it's almost like a bit of a sort of moot thing, right? At that point, it's like it's just a circular.
But doesn't that make the question of what's your creative process a question of what's the craftsman in you? Like what do you do? Obviously, when you ask someone before they make a table, or like when they make the table, how did you come up with this table? They will presumably, rather than focus on the idea of making a table, focus on how they've actually executed.
Yeah, they probably. How did you make a table?
And obviously, this comes back to what you said, that it's a lot easier to pinpoint a particular idea. Like, you can't just apply that to all music videos or to all films.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I think you probably argue that you could, but I would say there's beginning to say you can't.
I mean, you know what? Fuck me, right? I'm wrong. Fuck me.
That's all.
No. I don't think that's. I think.
Never agreed.
I think you're right in many ways. I think that.
I just don't like to indulge in that too much.
No. I think.
I went into the depths of my being.
I think you're right that is an important thing to not create this sort of pretentious idea behind it, but it being like even if you are trying to come up with something that is not a process in sort of inverted commas as though like a process. It's like a process like making a like just the execution of a thing. And the same goes for like research and it being kind of methodical and not be this thing that you've come up with.
The more you think about your process and your idea and how you came up with your idea, it becomes a very like vain thing. It can almost destroy the idea.
Exactly. It's like deconstructing the frog. When you deconstruct a joke.
It's not funny.
It's not. It's not a joke.
It's like
You
the
get lost
ambiguity of the idea is the romantic thing that we get lost in.
The appearance of an idea, the euphoria of just a great idea coming to you.
I think it's the same thing as you have with like a kid doing something that everybody finds adorable, and then them being like, come over here, do this again, and then suddenly the kid is self-conscious, like, the magic is gone because they were completely lost in whatever they were doing.
So what film are we making?
The thing I always wonder about though is the idea of, for example, people say like a Lynchian thing or a Lynchian or like a Herzog, something this like Herzog, that there's a unique thing that sort of ties it all together. And I wonder if it's the thing that you mentioned of like not being able to actually see it because it comes from within. So all they do is just focus on the craft and do their thing.
Because once you start, if you're one of those people that are an auteur, once you start thinking about that and start making something that is your style, you probably make a parody.
Do you think auteurs exist? Do you think that?
I do, but I don't think they think about. I think they just think about what they like. They don't say, "Oh, I'm going to make." Hitchcock never thought, "I'm going to make a Hitchcockian film."
Sure, but like to that, like I think my thing of auteurs of like is I don't think I've ever seen a production that really relies on one person, and that pretty much every production I've been a part of has had considerable sort of creative input from other people. I mean, I'm not saying it couldn't happen, but I've got no frame of reference to see it happening, and the idea of like this one person crafting this thing and everyone else is just gonna say
yes.
yes.
It happens like that, does it? I think the auteur, like especially with, I don't know, Woody Allen and the films that people like of Woody Allen's, the thing that makes him an auteur in those films, or I think the thing that people think about is not just the writing and the directing, but the cinematography, which wasn't really his input. So I think it is just an auteur is just bringing people that they like together.
Sure, but doesn't that? Do you not feel like that slightly goes against the idea of an auteur? Not to say that these people are like bad. Like that's a very good use of like that's a very good process. But like the idea of putting a single person on a sort of thing and being like this is very much their kind of film. If it's like it's really them, you can tell it's them because he works with all these 20 people. It's like
because it's not actually it's the collection.
I don't know. I guess I find it. I don't know how it always strikes me the thing. I don't know how almost useful it is to think about things under the guise. Obviously, we all do it, but I think it is slightly. It's pushed, right? But like director. I mean, the very fact that I know directors is a more creative thing, but like you do rarely hear producers nearly to the same extent as directors.
Yeah, true.
And you could argue that directors are going to be the ones that have the ones shaping the actual stuff we see and all that shit. But like producers are still there.
Well, actually,
from before the director to after.
Exactly.
Obviously, it varies, but like, and there's no kind of. There's a lot less of putting them up as a whole auteur or anything like that.
Well,
and they just surround themselves with the right people.
True.
I don't know. I guess.
No, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
I mean, could you? I think it does often come back to the idea of could you have, in a theoretical situation, a film be made without a director? Like if everyone just read the script,
films, yeah.
if everyone just read the script
Yeah.
and knew what they were doing, were perfectly in unison on a kind of like,
Yeah.
That's a really nice experiment.
would the director be needed? Like, what does the director do?
It depends what you want from the film as well.
Yeah, the director's mainly there to make sure that all the departments have a sort of cohesive vision.
Yeah. Amongst other things, amongst performance
That's
and
the main thing.
But
That's
like
the
in
main
theory,
thing.
all those other bits, someone else could be doing. The various people responsible for those things. If there was some kind of weird.
Yeah.
In real life, if you tested it as an experiment, it would go very badly. Like, I think it would. I think it would go badly.
What do you mean by badly?
As in, I think you'd have a really uncohesive.
Well, yeah, you don't have a cohesive thing, but it might be really cool, really interesting.
I feel like you're getting into a territory where chaos, like some things come out of chaos that are cool, but the probability of that is like lower.
Yeah.
I think you'd also.
Yeah, it's a huge waste of money, and it's definitely an experiment.
Yeah,
It's not something you can sell.
it depends on as well, like the scale of, if we're talking like a pretty well-funded, like large film, you've got a lot of people who are used to working within that hierarchy, and suddenly like maybe having to make, like, would you be saying they can't talk to each other either? Like these HODs?
Well, would there be HODs technically speaking? Because presumably they're directors of their own departments.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It depends
how
on
much you split it
how
down.
much do you split it down. Yeah, I think you could start with just not having the main director.
But like, I think, exactly, the main director, because I know what you mean, that they're just heads of their own department, and in theory all those decisions could be happening on the ground level without any
That's
people.
a film of the people.
But
That's
do
a
you
peasant film.
But like,
Go on.
if you talk about, okay, director is responsible for planning a sequence of shots, say, apart from on films where they're like, fuck that, and they kind of let the DP do it, you've got a variety. You've got some where they would plan everything themselves, not allow any input from anyone, and you've got some where they'd be way more open to being like, how do you think we should shoot this, the DP, right?
Yes.
Like in theory, on those kind of things, you can kind of push out the director a bit, and then you've got the DP basically planning that sequence. Same with, costume or something. You might have a director who's really into it, but if you had a director who's like, you tell me what's good, at that point you just pull them out, and they've done that.
Yeah, but also you're going to have so many different, like, having a director means that there will be an agreement. At a point there will be an agreement whether, even if people disagree.
Is there another beer?
There is. In the
Can
fridge.
you, there's just one, can you pour it into cups? Can I share that with you?
How many cups?
Because so you're
Two,
shooting,
I think.
you've got the assistant director, right, and he's going, okay, we're rolling, but I'm the production designer and I'm not listening to him. He's like, who the fuck's this guy?
That's the problem.
And then he walks in front of the camera and he like adjusts the hat like in the middle of the shot.
No,
I
but-
see.
no,
You see that as a good thing.
Well, I'm just saying,
It could be.
it's unavoidably messy.
If you still had an AD,
but then that's the
that
director.
No. But
point.
I'm not saying you get rid of all direction. I'm saying as the one thing that's put on the top of the pyramid, is that the one thing you could almost remove
But-
without any adverse
Yeah.
effect?
But that's the thing. Isn't that like the ultimate, high court? Like in a situation where production designer and the director of photography are like, against something. Both of them are like, fuck this, I don't like your idea. And the other person is like, fuck this.
Because there will
You
be
don't.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then
that's
you
all.
don't have that one person being like, guys, this is what it is. That's it.
Yeah. That's where it falls down, right? That you wouldn't have the hierarchy there, and they'd be forced to agree or agree to disagree,
But this-
or to whatever. They just got to get on with it.
This is all within the vicinity that you have a time scale, you have a budget, you have it needs to be made,
Yeah,
and all
I mean,
of these things.
I think what would genuinely happen if you committed to this experiment, and if all you had done is remove the director as the head of the pyramid, you would suddenly realise that the producer would just be making all these calls.
I mean, yeah, that's the
Like-
thing. I mean, you know the symbiocycle thing when they start doing rebelling against.
Yeah.
I feel like that would possibly happen quite quick. Like, I have to say, like, being sort of, I mean, I haven't been on set a lot, and now being on this set, it was very interesting to see how departments, for example, you'd get these moments of like people getting fed up, people getting tired, people sort of being like having doubts about, you know, what the fuck is this guy doing? But if you remove that from the equation, then suddenly there is like a lot less purpose. People being like, you know, I don't need to do this, fuck this kind of thing. Whereas if you've got this one person holding it, then maybe. I want to say that I'm a bit of a blank slate at the moment because I've just like finished stuff, and you've asked the question, what's the film we're making? And I think now, making a film about a man who peed too much might be a good one.
Yeah, I mean,
Is he
I
diabetic?
could write a little bit about that.
diabetic?
No, it's.
Oh, is it? Oh, I think you meant the Branagh film.
Having
was-
coffee. Yeah, man who eats too much. Yeah.
Are you ever worried you might be diabetic?
That's
No, I've had a test for that. I'm fine.
3 months? Yeah. No, but I think in that situation, you know, you get the designer and the DP arguing about some shit, and if it actually is an argument, it's the producer that's going to be called to sort it out. You know, you suddenly realise that they are also very much on top of the pyramid, and they'd be the one.
It's just like
Sorting
purely
out.
rational decisions. As
Yeah,
opposed to
yeah.
any
But they'd be like,
creative-
I don't give a shit. Choose one of them. Like,
It'd be
Yeah.
so
Or,
fun as
or
well.
maybe
Oh.
maybe you just do this rule. Maybe you just say any problems random.
yeah.
You just
Roll
randomize.
the
You've got
dice.
dice or something.
But there'd probably be so much complex knock-on effect from those
Yeah, 'cause
that,
you
that
have a
would
sound
very
designer in the
quickly,
corner, like recording the sound of like a frog or something.
very quickly fall down.
You know,
I don't think
we
it
haven't
would
got.
lead to good things. This thing, but I do think there's a logic to that idea that on a theoretical film you could. The director's almost like the one role that you could just completely remove with almost no
Yeah.
adverse
I
effects,
wonder.
apart from the adverse effects of everything.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
If things tipped the wrong way.
Yeah. It's true.
I like
Yeah. So fuck or turf theory. That's,
Yeah,
that's my
yes.
rationale for that.
It's the end of the loop, I guess, the director position.
But then I guess you could say that whilst the director isn't needed to make a film, like the director is needed to make a good film. Like none of the sort of making of the film is their direct responsibility, but making an actual thing that's not a piece of shit.
Oh, I swear
That's
there
what
was.
they do.
Wait, no, wasn't there? I swear I remember someone telling me about a film where the director walked off, but the cast and the crew liked the film so much that they just finished. I swear that was a fucking thing.
probably.
Yeah, some
I can imagine that's happening.
See that happening?
Sublime.
Oh yeah, we have a thing here, don't we?
You're gonna whip it out.
We're gonna do
Lots of
a
damage.
trip down the memory line.
Yeah, we should get some of this framed.
Oh. That's beautiful. A fractal lifting infinitely closer to finishing information.
I think we should reprint it as like a magazine cover
Mm.
and then rip it out as if we ripped out
That's
a
very
really
soft.
obscure
Nice.
magazine.
That's
I
nice.
think that was printed on the
Why has it got a
library.
shoe print on the back? They just stamped on it. Yeah.
It's a footprint. It's a footprint of the glitch. So
So
that's like the
1998.
origin project.
We could-
almost,
we
isn't it?
That was the origin.
Yeah.
Yeah, straight up, man.
Why is it 1998?
What do you mean? That was when we shot it.
Wait, what? Summer 1998. As if.
We could probably identify.
Wait, was this because of Video Box?
No, this.
Oh.
Oh, it might have
What,
been.
it was in there?
Ah.
Well, I mean,
funny.
Gareth has this thing where he puts stuff in all the films he's working on.
I mean, it's not a thing.
Little
forgot about
cameos.
this.
Easy. It's less cameo and more just like I need something to fill this thing.
Sure.
I can either come up with something new or I can just use
Yeah,
something that
use
already
old
exists.
stuff,
Like, what's the quickest way to get out of this problem?
Yeah.
I think, I'm not convinced I put 1998 because of Video Box, because I'm pretty sure that already existed.
Oh, really?
I don't think I printed that for Video Box. I think it had already been printed for some reason.
Summer 1990.
I might go for a cigarette.
I think it was because it was based on
So
a
my brother was born.
Was it?
summer of '98. Good year.
June the 2nd, 1998.
Probably just in time for the Sublime.
Yeah.
Maybe your brother is the Sublime.
Oh,
That's
that's
what
really
it's
sweet.
always
Sublime.
about.
That's really sweet.
Good man.
How's your brother doing? Sweden? Sweden?
Yeah.
It's in Sweden.
He's in Sweden.
How are the Swedes doing?
You
They
can
had
go
a
there
long
without
time
the
ago.
quarantine.
Yeah.
Are they quarantining?
No,
I
not yet.
believe quite
They
a lot
did
of the information
Corona
coming out
There's
never
is-
got there.
there's only 9 countries in Europe
like
that are not quarantining.
People have died a lot more in
Well,
in
that
Sweden
UK is not
than
quarantining if you go to.
Well, wasn't there the whole
Because they
thing of
don't
like
have
they
fun.
didn't
Holland
do
is one of
anything,
them,
and
and
everyone's
Sweden
like,
is
that's
one of them.
really
Germany.
Interesting.
interesting, and they're
Surprisingly,
fine.
Italy.
And they're
That's
fine. They
crazy.
are fine.
At the
but
moment,
lots of people have died.
But then, like
But they
a
haven't
bit later,
recorded it.
they're
That's the thing,
just
yeah.
shooting everyone who gets symptoms.
Oh,
There's
man.
a lot more, very few corona deaths, but a lot of public executions. I don't know if I want that on record.
Yeah, just outro it now. This is the outro.
Yeah, fuck off.